For the summer assignment, it simply said to write an equation, a linear equation, given certain information. It didn't say which form to write it in. We are going to go ahead and do it in slope-intercept form, but I will accept any of the three forms. All right, so slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So if we replace the m and the b with numbers and leave these two variables x and y, we will have a linear equation that describes one specific line. All right, so how are we going to write an equation in slope-intercept form? Well, I just said we need to replace the m and the b. So step one, find or calculate m. Maybe you're lucky and it's given. Step two, find b. And maybe again you're lucky and it's given. And step three, write the equation by substituting the value of m and b into y equals mx plus b. All right, let's look at a few examples. Okay. Example 1. I tell you that the slope of a certain equation is 5 over 4, and I tell you that it goes through the point, through the point 0, negative 1, and I ask you to write the equation. Well, y equals mx plus b. Step 1 is to find m, and there it is, it's given. Step 2 is to find b. Well, let's look at this here. 0, negative 1. What exactly is b? Let's just review a second. If I have a graph, x, y, and I have some line here, this is b right here. What is the value of x on this line here? Well, it's 0. X tells me horizontal movement. There is no horizontal movement. What are the coordinates of this point down here? Well, again, that would be 0 and some number. And what would be the coordinates of this point down here? It would be 0 and then some number. And the point up here, it would be 0 and then some number. So any point on the y-axis, the value of x is 0. As a matter of fact, the equation of this vertical line is x equals 0. Every point on this line, the x value is 0. So if I have a point and the x value is 0, I know that my y is then my b value, 0, b. All right, so m was given, b was sort of given, okay? So y equals 5/4 x minus 1, and there is your answer. Okay, let's look at another example. This example is going to be a little bit more involved as far as the algebra goes. Okay. I want to write the equation of a line that goes through these 2 points. So step 1, find m. Okay. Now the question becomes, how do we find m given 2 points? We use our formula. Okay. Until you are correct 100% of the time in finding slope, you write the formula. You write the formula, and now we're going to slowly substitute. Slope is not difficult, however, there's very often little mistakes made by negative signs being dropped and just making sloppy mistakes, mistakenly picking up different x terms or y terms and changing order. So just be careful. Y sub 2 minus 9 divided by 2. And so we go back to this point here, 2 minus negative 3. Negative 5 over minus a negative is, add the opposite, is 5, negative 1. So we found our slope. Step 2. Okay, so after finding m, we now have to find b. So in order to find b, we use the equation y equals mx plus b, and of course our unknown is b. Therefore, we must substitute something in for y, for m, and for x. Okay, so what should we substitute in for y? Well, we can actually substitute in either of the points. So I'm going to substitute the point 2, 4 in. And again, the point is 2, 4. We could substitute the other point in as well. So my y value is 4. My slope is negative 1. My x value is 2. And now I'm simply going to solve for b. And I get 4 equals negative 2 plus b, add 2, b equals 6. And step 3, write the equation. Y equals negative 1 times x, or simply negative x, plus 6. That's our equation. So let's take a look at example 3. Rather than given 2 points, we are given information. We are told that we want to write the equation of a line that is perpendicular to a line whose equation is 3x minus 2y equals 12. So we're told that we want an equation of a line perpendicular to this line and through the point 6, negative 7. Okay? So in other words, somewhere in space there's a line and then there's a point. And I want the equation of the line perpendicular to that line and through that point. Okay. So, what's our first step? Find m. How are we going to find m? We're not given 2 points, we're only given 1. Well, if we go back to what you learned in Algebra 1 about the slopes of perpendicular lines, you should remember that the slopes of perpendicular lines are opposite reciprocals. All right, so the slopes of perpendicular lines are opposite reciprocals. So I am going to go ahead and take this equation, transform it into slope-intercept, negative divided by a negative is a positive, and we bring that fractional amount out. Okay, so I found the line, but I want an equation of a line that's perpendicular. So the perpendicular slope is the opposite. This is positive, so my perpendicular slope is going to be negative. Reciprocal, we flip this, and there it is. And I love to use subscripts. This means perpendicular, and that way I don't confuse anything. So that's my first step. I found M. All right. Second step. Step 1. Find B. All right, so I'm going to use this point, and we only have one other point. I'm sorry, we're going to use this slope and this point. That's the only point that we have to find B. All right, so we're going to use the equation y equals mx plus b. B is our unknown, therefore we must substitute for all the other variables. Y is -7. Slope is -2/3. X is 6 plus b. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and solve this. -7 equals negative times a positive. It's going to be a negative number. We can visualize it like this. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 6 twice. 2 times 2 is 4. -4 plus b. Add 4. Add 4. 3 equals b. Okay. And our final step is to write the equation. Y equals -2/3 x plus 3. Okay, and that line is going to be perpendicular to our original line that we were given in the problem, and it will pass through that point. And we could go ahead and graph that and show you that that, in fact, is true. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about are the special cases. And one of my goals this year is to get you to pause before solving and think a little bit, because there's a number of problems that you can solve without doing any work, just by thinking about it. And those special cases are horizontal and vertical lines. Okay, just a quick review. We did this in a previous video. The horizontal line, the slope is 0. Vertical line, the slope is undefined. Okay? Horizontal line, the equation is always y equals some number, call it b. And the equation of a vertical line is always x equals some number, we'll call it a. So let's say I had a point, I don't know, -15, 7, and I wanted the equation of a horizontal line. We know it's of the form y equals. Well, what does y equal? Y equals 7. It's stated here. This one is it's always x, y. It's an ordered pair. Order matters. The first one is always x. This one's always y. Okay? If I wanted a vertical line through that point, it would be of the form x equals. And what does x equal? -15. Notice there was no work in this problem, just thinking here. Okay, and that should be a good review for your summer assignment.